The story begins with a young woman named Khloe getting out of the car with her 2 little children. Meanwhile, Khloe's younger sister Rosie comes out of the house and sends Khloe's children inside. Afterward, Khloe leaves a voice message for an unspecified person. Then she leaves. As she gets in her car and is about to drive off, a pickup truck arrives and blocks her way. Henchmen of Khloe's husband get out of the truck and order her to come out of the car while a mechanic watches from a distance. The mechanic tries to intervene and asks the goons if they need his help. At that moment, Mick shoots the mechanic, killing him instantly. Vincent approaches the car and breaks the window to pull Khloe out. Lance forcefully grabs her and, with Vincent's assistance, puts her in the trunk. Mick informs Donnie that his assigned task has been completed. The scene then shifts to an ex-Marine soldier named Jake arriving at a gas station. He notices a couple littering cigarette stubs on the street, which irritates him. He approaches the seemingly innocent couple, picks up the stubs from the street, and throws them into a nearby small dumpster, revealing Jake's hygienic nature. Shortly after, Carl and Ocean enter the store to buy supplies for their vacation, bringing bear repellent spray with them. When Jake also arrives, Ocean and Carl leave in fear. Meanwhile, Vincent, Lance, and Mick head to Donnie's house to deliver Khloe. In the trunk, Khloe regains consciousness and realizes she is inside the truck. Donnie asks his men if they found his kids with Khloe. Mick replies negatively, which infuriates Donnie. Furious, Donnie orders them to find his children or be ready to face the consequences. Meanwhile, Khloe manages to unlock the trunk and escape, risking her life. She quickly gets to her feet and flees into a nearby forest. Vincent and the others are baffled and begin searching for her. Lance and Mick chase her into the forest while Khloe runs for her life. In the forest, Jake sets bait for a wandering bear, but soon hears panting nearby and becomes alert. He quickly climbs a tree and sees a young woman being chased by 2 men. Khloe hides behind a tree while Lance and Mick search for her nearby. Khloe picks up a log to counterattack the approaching men. Shortly after, she attacks Lance with the log and knocks him over. However, the situation reverses when Lance flattens her. Desperately, Khloe grabs a stone and hits Lance, forcing him to let go of her. Jake climbs down from the tree and asks if Khloe needs help. She nods, and Jake quickly shoots Lance in the head. Mick hears the gunshots and is terrified to see someone more cold-blooded than himself. Gunfire erupts in the forest, causing Jake and Khloe to run off. Mick advances, firing, and finds Lance lying dead on the ground. Jake tells Khloe he will take her to the sheriff's office, but she stops him, explaining she isn't safe there. Mick leaves the forest disappointed and informs Vincent that Lance was killed by a hunter in the woods and that Khloe is with him. They get into the truck and drive off. At his posh farm, Donnie has tied up his failed mercenary Ken, who pleads for his life, but merciless Donnie kicks him into the pool, drowning him. Mick informs Donnie about Khloe's escape, making Donnie furious. On the way, Mick and Vincent find Jake's truck parked outside the woods. Vincent breaks the window and finds Jake's driver's license, revealing Jake is an ex-US Marine. Elsewhere in the forest, Jake hides in the bushes as he sees Mick and Vincent sabotaging his car. Khloe explains to Jake that those men are Mick and Vincent, sent by her ex-husband to bring her back. Khloe calls Mick, asking him not to kill her. Mick promises no one will hurt her. However, Khloe does not show up and leaves with Jake, leaving Mick unanswered. Vincent suggests they must go into the forest to bring Khloe back, warning that Donnie will kill them if they fail. Mick refuses and heads to the store with the receipt he found in Jake's car. On the way, Jake reveals himself to Khloe as an ex-military soldier. Vincent and Mick arrive at the same store where Jake usually buys bear bait. They enter impersonating Jake's friends. The store owner says Jake has no friends as far as he knows. He notices the gun tucked in Mick's pants, steps back fearing, and Vincent pulls his gun while questioning the owner about Jake. The owner warns them to leave, saying it's dangerous to mess with Jake, but eventually reveals Jake has a cabin on Emerald Ridge where he can be found. After revealing Jake's whereabouts, Donnie's mercenaries kill the store owner and leave. Khloe explains to Jake she was supposed to meet an FBI agent today, but ran into Donnie's goons instead. She thanks Jake for saving her life. Meanwhile, Donnie is furious with Mick and Vincent for losing Khloe and the children. He orders them to find her as soon as possible and contacts another mercenary, assigning him a task. Jake takes Khloe to his cabin in the forest before nightfall. He gives her a cell phone to let her talk to her children. Khloe goes upstairs and tells her sister Rosie that she is fine and will explain everything when they meet the next day. Afterward, she returns downstairs and thanks Jake. Suddenly, someone knocks at the door. Mick answers and finds Zach, an accomplice of Mick and Vincent, sent by Donnie. Zach, a tech expert, locates Jake's exact location on the map, but refuses to answer Vincent's questions. Curious, Mick asks who Jake really is. Shockingly, Zach reveals that Jake is a former Delta Force soldier and Green Beret, notorious for going off the deep end quickly. Mick and Vincent are stunned upon hearing this. The next day, Jake and Khloe hear a blast outside the cabin near the security system, signaling that Mick and his men have infiltrated the forest. From a distance, Zach begins firing at the cabin indiscriminately. Jake is struck by a stray bullet and collapses unconscious. Mick breaks into the cabin and tries to gain control of Khloe, but soon Jake regains consciousness, smashes a chair over Mick, and punches him repeatedly. Khloe shoots Vincent, severely injuring his leg, while Jake incapacitates Mick. Jake then burns Mick's face with a hot kettle, inflicting unbearable pain, before brutally crushing his skull, revealing his dark and violent side. Khloe is horrified, frozen in shock. Jake and Khloe leave the cabin and move on. Soon, Donnie tries to contact Mick for updates about Khloe and the children, but the call goes unanswered, leaving him anxious. Vincent enters the cabin and finds Mick's disfigured corpse. Meanwhile, Jake and Khloe reach a timber yard, but quickly realize Vincent is on their trail. Jake instructs Khloe to act as bait while he hides. Vincent stealthily advances through the forest, only to encounter Khloe, who is surprisingly ready for him. She forces him to drop his gun and explain himself. Vincent insists that he is not there to kill her, claiming he can help her escape. Before Khloe can decide, Jake ambushes Vincent, stabbing him in the back. He activates a machine and mercilessly drags Vincent onto it, shredding him to pieces while Khloe stands speechless and terrified. Jake yells at Khloe when she remains silent, claiming she has not spoken for 20 minutes. She replies that she has only been thinking about her children, though deep down she is terrified of him. Jake begins speaking strangely, expressing his desire to meet her children and even become a father figure to them, which unsettles Khloe further. Elsewhere, Zach discovers Vincent's decapitated body. In the forest, Jake comes across Ocean and her boyfriend Carl, who are spending time together. Shocked and afraid to see Jake again, they insist they have done nothing wrong. Jake accuses them of trespassing. Carl apologizes and promises not to repeat the mistake. Just when they try to leave, Jake spots several cigarette stubs on the ground, which angers him further. He accuses them of leaving them, but Carl nervously denies it. Khloe begs Jake to let them go, but Jake violently pushes her aside and beats Carl severely. Ocean retaliates using bear repellent spray, but Jake quickly overpowers her. When Khloe tries to intervene again, he shoves her with equal brutality. He sprays the repellent into Ocean's mouth before Carl fights back with a shovel. Jake disarms him and slashes Carl's neck with it, killing him instantly. Khloe watches in horror. As Ocean tries to escape, Khloe reaches for a gun, begging Jake to let her go, but Jake forces Khloe's hand to pull the trigger, resulting in Ocean's death. Khloe is utterly devastated, realizing she has brought doom upon herself by trusting Jake. Jake tries to convince her that they can start a new life together, but Khloe seizes the opportunity to spray bear repellent into his face and runs. Jake frantically washes his eyes while Khloe hides behind a tree with a stone in hand. When Jake approaches, she strikes but is overpowered. He pins her down, threatening to kill her before meeting her children. Just then, Zach shoots Jake from a distance, saving Khloe. Zach calls out to Khloe, urging her to come with him, while Jake, laughing maniacally, tries to manipulate her. Suddenly, he reveals a hidden gun and shoots at Zach. Fortunately, Zach is protected by a bulletproof vest. A brutal fight ensues between Zach and Jake, with Zach eventually overpowering him. However, just as Zach calls to Khloe, she shoots him in the head, killing him. Relieved, she heads to the river, gets into a canoe, and begins rowing home. But moments later, another bullet strikes her arm fired by Jake, who has miraculously survived. With her ammo exhausted, Khloe desperately tries to row with her good hand. Suddenly, Jake lunges out of the water, drags her under, and stabs her leg. Struggling for air, Khloe manages to snatch his knife and plunge it into his neck, finally killing him. Exhausted yet alive, she escapes the river, steals Carl and Ocean's car, and drives off. She comes straight to her husband Donnie's house, where she drinks liquor. When Donnie aggressively demands to know about their children, Khloe remains silent. Standing up, she unzips her bag and throws a grenade pin toward him before leaving the room. Seconds later, the grenade explodes, killing Donnie. Finally, Khloe returns home, where she reunites with her beloved children and sister Rosie. And this is where the movie comes to an end.